Hey guys, Kristen Sonneborn again. This time I'm going to be talking a little bit about the magic of sharp scales. If you recall, last time I talked to you, I was discussing flat scales. And most band students are very comfortable with flat scales. A lot of the repertoire is in flats. However, when you play in an orchestra and as you become more competent with your instrument, you'll find a lot of pieces are also written in sharp keys. If you look at our flat scales from last time, you'll remember that the F scale has one flat. If you place this side by side with our sharp scales, you'll notice a pattern. The first note in each column has the same letter right down the row. However, besides all the flats on this page, you'll notice a lot more sharps. Okay? But as long as you memorize these letter names, you'll know which scale to play next. You also must remember that flat scales add a flat each time. With sharp scales, we subtract a sharp down to 0. If you imagine that C major is the 12 o'clock position on an analog clock, and G flat major, or F sharp major in this case, is the 6 o'clock position on an analog clock, you will see that as the hand ticks around, it goes back clockwise down to 0. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but first let's talk about the word enharmonic again. If you recall, G flat major had a note in it that was C flat. The fourth note was C flat, which sounds like a B natural. The F sharp sounds exactly like a G flat. So this is the enharmonic scale to G flat major. I would not be able to tell without looking at your fingers which version you were playing, because the notes are exactly the same, just spelled with sharps instead of flats. So if you recall, the rule from our flat scales is that the fourth column becomes extremely important. That's why I have it printed in red. So if you play F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B must be natural. If you take that B and you recall our trick, drop it down here, the B starts the next scale. B major, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. It must be a natural. In the previous scale, it was a sharp. Now it's a natural. And then, as we found out before, the first 4 notes of the previous scale are going to end the next scale. Okay, so E becomes the starting note of the E major scale. Counting 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What was previously a sharp is now lowered a half step and is a natural. So as long as you play a natural in that 4th position, you will have accomplished a great deal with your sharp scales. Again, you will already know the last 4 notes because they came from the previous scale too. Now they're at the end. Okay, so a quick review. A moves over here, lower the D 1/2 step to a D natural, and play the same 4 notes as the scale above it. Now remember, we're subtracting 6, 5, 4, 3. So after the A scale, you're only going to have 2 sharps left. The G is now a natural. And finally, our G major scale only has 1 sharp. Now, if you're very astute, and I'm sure you are, you will also notice something magical about this 7th column. The 7th note in a sharp scale is always sharp. In a flat scale, in case you were wondering, it's always a natural. And then a quick review. I'll move these aside. The 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th make up the arpeggio. And we have to repeat the octave. Okay? Reverse when you come back down. Remember to skip back to the 5th, play the 3rd, and play the 1st. So we've gone from 6 o'clock on the clock, and then we've come back to 0. 0 in this case would be the C scale. All right? So I hope you've enjoyed learning a bit more about scales and how cool they are. They're not so daunting when you look at them in this particular way, because you know there's lots and lots of fun tips and tricks to learn your scales. The rest is up to you, just a lot of practice. Thanks everybody. See you next time.